In the fading light of a dusty Texas sunset, where the horizon stretched like an endless promise, Amelia trudged along the dirt road leading to the old Whitaker ranch. Her boots, worn thin from miles of walking, kicked up small clouds of red earth with each weary step. She was a stranger in these parts, a widow from the bustling streets of Chicago, fleeing the ghosts of a life shattered by loss. Her husband had died in a factory accident 6 months ago, leaving her with nothing but debts and a heart heavy with grief. With her last few dollars spent on a bus ticket south, she sought refuge in the vast openness of the American West, hoping the land's rugged beauty might mend her broken spirit. But now, as night crept in, exhaustion clawed at her bones, and she spotted the ranch's weathered sign swinging in the breeze, a beacon of hope or, perhaps, just another rejection. Amelia approached the main house cautiously, her faded dress clinging to her sweat-dampened skin. The air smelled of hay and horses, a far cry from the smoky factories back home. She knocked on the door, her knuckles raw, and waited. After a moment, it creaked open, revealing a tall figure silhouetted against the warm glow of a lantern inside. It was a cowboy through and through, broad-shouldered, with a Stetson hat tipped low over piercing blue eyes that had seen too many sunrises and heartaches. His name was Jack Whitaker, the last of his family line, running the ranch alone since his parents' past years. Agua Benin, ma'am, he said, his voice gravelly but kind. What brings you out here so late? She swallowed hard, her throat dry as the desert. I'm sorry to bother you, sir. I've been walking all day. I don't have money for a room in town, but I noticed your stable out back. If you'd let me sleep there, just for the night, I'd be grateful. I won't cause any trouble. Jack eyed her, taking in her disheveled appearance, the way her hands trembled slightly. He could see the desperation in her eyes, the kind that mirrored his own hidden sorrows. But instead of turning her away, he stepped aside. Come in first. Can't talk business on an empty stomach. Reluctantly, Amelia entered, the scent of fresh-baked cornbread wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. Over a simple meal at his scarred oak table, Amelia shared bits of her story, the loss of her husband, the eviction from their tiny apartment, the endless job searches that led nowhere. Jack listened quietly, nodding occasionally, his fork pausing mid-bite. He didn't pry, but his silence invited trust. In turn, he mentioned little about himself, how the ranch had been in his family for generations, how drought and death threatened to take it all away. As the meal ended, Amelia reiterated her request. The stable will do fine, really. I've slept in worse. Jack leaned back, his chair creaking. No, ma'am. Do you sleep next to me or not at all? Her eyes widened in shock, a flush of fear and indignation rising to her cheeks. She stood abruptly, grabbing her small satchel. I beg your pardon? I may be down on my luck, but I'm not that kind of woman. Jack held up his hands, a chuckle escaping his lips despite the misunderstanding. Whoa there, hold your horses. I didn't mean it like that. He stood slowly, his expression softening. What I meant is, you'll sleep in the guest room next to mine, in a proper bed, or you won't sleep here at all. I ain't the right for a lady to bed down with the horses when there's space inside. Mama raised me better than that. Amelia paused, her heart pounding. The unexpected kindness in his words pierced through her defenses. She searched his face for deceit but found only sincerity, the kind born from a life of hard knocks and quiet integrity. Slowly, she sat back down, tears welling in her eyes. Why would you do that for a stranger? As the night deepened, Jack showed her to the guest room. A modest space with a quilted bed and a window overlooking the starry plains. Amelia sank into the mattress, the first real comfort she'd felt in weeks, but sleep evaded her. Her mind raced with memories of her husband, Tom, whose laughter once filled their home. Down the hall, Jack lay awake too, staring at the ceiling. He thought of his late wife, Sarah, lost to illness 5 years prior. The ranch had become his solitary fortress, but seeing Amelia's vulnerability stirred something long dormant, a reminder that humanity's true strength lay in connection, not isolation. The next morning, Amelia woke to the sound of roosters crowing and the aroma of coffee brewing. Determined not to overstay her welcome, she ventured outside to help. She found Jack mending a fence, his shirt sleeves rolled up, sweat beading on his brow. Without a word, she picked up a hammer and joined him, her city hands clumsy at first but eager. You don't have to do this, he said, surprised. I want to, she replied. It's the least I can do. As they worked side by side, conversation flowed easier. Jack shared stories of his youth, riding horses at dawn, the thrill of cattle drives, the unbreakable bond of community in small-town America. Amelia spoke of her dreams deferred, how she'd always wanted to teach children but life had steered her elsewhere. In those hours, an unexpected bond formed, two souls recognizing the shared pain of loss and the quiet resilience required to endure. But the day took an unforeseen turn when a storm rolled in from the west, dark clouds swallowing the sky like an angry beast. Sun there rambled, and rain poured in sheets, turning the ground to mud. Jack rushed to secure the animals, and Amelia followed, her dress soaked through. In the chaos, a young calf slipped into a swelling creek behind the barn, its cries piercing the downpour. Without thinking, Amelia waded in, the cold water biting at her legs. She grabbed the calf's halter, pulling with all her might, but the current was strong. "Hold on!" Jack shouted, plunging in after her. Together, they hauled the animal to safety, collapsing on the bank in exhaustion. As the rain eased, Jack looked at her with newfound respect. "That was brave, Amelia. Foolish, but brave." She smiled weakly. "I couldn't just watch it drown. Life is too precious to stand by." That evening, as they dried off by the fire, Jack revealed more of his burdens. The bank was foreclosing on the ranch in 2 weeks unless he could scrape together the payment. "I've fought tooth and nail, but it's like punching wind," he admitted, his voice cracking. Amelia's heart ached for him. Here was a man who'd offered her shelter without question, yet he faced ruin alone. In that moment of profound realization, she saw the power of selflessness, not just in grand gestures, but in the quiet choice to help another despite one's own storms. "Jack," she said softly, "you're not alone anymore." Over the following days, Amelia's presence transformed the ranch. She organized the cluttered office, uncovering old records that revealed a forgotten insurance policy from Jack's parents, enough to stave off the foreclosure if claimed promptly. But the real change was deeper. She cooked meals that reminded him of home, laughed at his dry jokes, and shared stories that eased his loneliness. In return, Jack taught her to ride, the wind in her hair a symbol of newfound freedom. Yet, an unexpected twist came when a letter arrived from Chicago. Amelia's late husband's employer had settled a wrongful death claim, sending a check that could change her life. She stared at it, torn between returning to her old world or staying in this new one. The emotional climax built on a crisp autumn evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sun dip low. Amelia handed Jack half the settlement money. "This is for the ranch," she said, her voice steady. "You've given me more than shelter, you've given me hope. Let me give back." Jack's eyes glistened, overwhelmed by her generosity. "I can't take this, Amelia. It's your future." She placed her hand on his. "Our futures are intertwined now. Kindness isn't a debt, it's a chain that binds us all. In a world that can be so cruel, acts like yours remind us of our shared humanity." It pulled her into a gentle embrace, the weight of years lifting from his shoulders. In that act of compassion, both found transformation. Amelia, from a wanderer to a woman of purpose; Jack, from a solitary cowboy to a man open to love again. As winter approached, the ranch thrived under their joint efforts. Amelia stayed, not out of obligation, but choice. They married in a simple ceremony under the vast Texas sky, surrounded by neighbors who'd heard of their story and come to celebrate. The ranch became a haven for others down on their luck. Travelers, widows, dreamers, proving that one act of kindness could ripple outward, touching countless lives. In the end, Amelia and Jack's tale whispered a heartwarming truth: in the stables of our hardships, we often find the strength to offer shelter to others. It's in those moments of selflessness that humanity's true power shines, turning strangers into family and despair into hope. No matter where you roam, from the bustling cities of the East to the endless plains of the West, remember that compassion is the greatest legacy we leave, inspiring us all to build a kinder world, one generous act at a time.